Welcome to the Be Well Darling podcast. I'm Laura Darling. For over 20 years, I've worked as a holistic practitioner, a sound healer, a Reiki master, a life coach, and a psychic medium. Join me each week where we will explore wellness for the mind, body, and spirit. I will be connecting you with experts in every area of wellness to guide you through the many tools and techniques available to help you step into your most authentic life. So let's dive in. Welcome, darlings. It's so great to have you here. I am super excited to introduce one of my favorite people, one of the best astrologists I have ever met. And I want to welcome her to our show. Her name is Noah. Welcome, Noah.
Hey, Laura. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited that you decided to join me. I cannot wait to share more about your story. I want to share more about what you do. And I really feel that I know you've been impactful for me and many people in my life, for the gifts that you have and just for the stellar person that you are. And I'm excited to share some of that with our audience. So let's dive in. I'd love to first start off just knowing a little bit about who you are. You can share anything you'd like to share that resonates and is alive for you tonight.
Awesome. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. But yes, okay. My name is Noah. I'm an intuitive Western tropical astrologer. And I do a lot of things. I wear many hats. But one of the things under that umbrella that I do is I write for the Whidbey Weekly, the only independent newspaper of Whidbey Island, Washington. Shout out to them. We love them.
I did not know that.
You didn't?
Whidbey Island? Yes, yeah. It's so amazing. Okay, keep going, keep going.
We're finding out a lot of new things tonight for some reason, but we love the epiphanies. Okay, so yes, that's true. I've been practicing astrology for about 10 years, a little over 10 years now. And ever since I got into it, I've been hooked. I've just been hooked. I mean, I now at this point realize just how many types of astrology there are and how helpful it can be in any field, anywhere you are on your journey. There is a way for it to be useful if you are open to it being useful for anyone, all types of people, all walks of life, all genres of lifestyle. There's something astrology can help you with. So that really is just the core goal of why I practice, and I want to share it with as many people as possible. So I really strive to make astrology more accessible and especially digestible. I think that we get lost a lot of times with shop talk or astro speak or, astrology jargon, however you want to call it. And it can turn people away and, it can be difficult to access for a lot of people that are in a different frame of mind, a different lifestyle, a different field. So
Totally.
It's
actually resonates with me so much what you just said, because that is my whole platform, is to make holistic wellness of mind, body, and spirit accessible for everyone, wherever you are in your life, wherever you live, whatever part of your journey you're exploring. I want to tear back any walls or gates that have been put up by a lot of areas in the world of, accessibility.
Absolutely.
And what you said, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. This is supposed to be for everyone. And so I'm hoping that in the way that I present or the way that I read, et cetera, it's accessible, it's digestible, it's inviting.
Yes.
And it's not like, side note, I am a total nerd. And if at any point you're like, what does that mean? Happy to define or talk about or dive in more deeply so that there is clarity, there is transparency, there's understanding.
I love that so much. I have to be honest, when I have listened to some interviews in the past, because I'm an avid podcast listener as well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I get lost And I'll be like, well, what is this? What is somatic breathwork? What is X, Y, or Z? And I have to go and Google it after the episode. So I will definitely take you up on that and ask you some questions as we go.
Awesome. So through all of this and that core desire to make things more accessible and digestible, I do offer personal one-on-one readings for clients. The point is to offer guidance for people to make empowering life choices, connect with their highest possible timelines, to look at all of the possibilities available to them in any given situation, time period, moment of their life. Astrology really, hopefully, I think that if you're practicing it well, opens the mind. It broadens the lens. That's my intention with astrology.
I love this. And if you don't mind, I really want to share.
Please.
So sharing with the audience here, the first time I met Noah, she just wowed me. I went to Noah on a whim and gave her no information except for my name and my date of birth. And I am such a planner that my life is pretty well planned out, 3 months to 6 months in advance. Like, I've got it calendared. It's in the books. And I go and I sit down with Noah and she pulls my chart, and she was so specific with what she told me was coming in the next month, down to the days and exactly what I was going to be doing and being on a specific stage in a specific place on these specific dates, doing a very specific thing. And I already had it written down. There was no like, oh, this could kind of land for anyone. No. I was hosting a conference, a spiritual conference. I was emceeing. I was coming out of the spiritual closet, if you will.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so right then she just wowed me, and she was able to bring insights into my life on, some of the things going on with my family. My mom was really ill at the time. I never brought her up. Noah saw it in my chart and gave me a lot of solace and understanding of what was coming. And so that's one of the reasons I really feel, one, what you do is so authentic, because you read and the math and the science behind it, but you are also such an intuitive that you just channel through exactly what's coming in. So I'm so excited to have you here because you have given me such a deep lens into astrology.
Thank you so much, Laura. I love that. I love that feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, we talked a little bit about, who you are and what you do. I'd love to ask a little bit more about astrology and how it kind of grabbed your attention. Was it one thing? Was there an aha? Was it oh, this is it?
Yeah. Okay. Funny story. I always, like a lot of people that are interested in quote unquote woo subjects, I've always grabbed onto those books that tell you about your sun sign, as a kid, I remember as a young kid remembering my time of birth. That is a weird thing. I think that's at the time seemed very random. I also, for whatever reason, as a kid, celebrated my half birthday.
No.
I know. These are just little sprinkles of what the heck? What do you mean?
Right.
So those sort of things collected as a little child. For whatever reason, I didn't know it was significant back then, but I loved watching Sailor Moon and looking at all these empowered women being depicted in this anime as, Sailor Jupiter, Sailor Venus, Sailor Moon, these,
Yeah.
So something was already in my consciousness around the planets and the stars. But I will not forget the first time, that I actually saw a version of my birth chart and started reading about the placements of all the planets. And just one by one, I was floored by the accuracy in which I you know, not every cookbook, astrology book is like, you know, going to read you to a T, but I just couldn't believe how much it resonated with me.
Yeah.
So, you know, flopping around in this universe, trying to figure out who you are, and anything that speaks to you like that, all of a sudden it was like this, I got to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
What is this? So that's sort of what awakened this.
Yeah.
Was just seeing my own chart and then starting to dig in and read about it. And then, you know, then it's like you catch the itis, and then I'm doing charts for all the people around me and watching that resonate with them and watching that resonate with what I know of them. And anyway,
that's beautiful.
That's how that went.
I love that. And it does sound like it resonated with you. Like for me, from a very early age, you know, we come into this world with gifts, and it's our choice as we travel through this life to attune them and to hone those in, build that muscle, if you will.
And you didn't even know, like, how could you possibly know as a young person, like all the ways in which those windows and doors of magic would open for you?
Right.
Ain't no way.
No. Yeah. And it's funny you said that, you know, as a child, you would pick up, you know, I just can't even. It's so good. It's so good. It reminds me the first time I went to a yard sale, I bought a book. I was like 9 and it was a white magic book.
Wow.
For like $0.25. And my mom was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I want this book. And I just started amassing a collection from that point on.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's no rhyme or reason. You're just born with it.
Yeah. You just have that hit, like, this is for me.
Yes. Yes. So I think what I'd love to know more about is kind of the basics of astrology. We kind of alluded to this earlier, that you can get into some pretty deep areas of astrology. So I think for myself and my listeners, understanding, you know, what are the basics? And when I think of that, I hear a lot kind of like the big three.
Right.
So tell me your approach to that.
So for maybe the listeners that don't know what the big three is, Laura, I'm assuming, is referring to her sun, moon, and rising. Any one person's sun, moon, or rising, them being placements in a chart, in a birth chart. And before we get into that, I would dial it back one more layer of let's lay out maybe just what a birth chart is.
Yes.
You know? So the birth chart is essentially a snapshot of where all the planets were at when you were born. Like, that's that mental picture. From there, once you run that birth chart, in order to run that birth chart, you need any date, time, and location. And essentially, you can run a birth chart not just for people, but for events, for historical events, for the opening of a business, for the date of a marriage. I mean, you can create a birth chart for anything if you have a date, time, and place. So it's pretty infinite, all the information you can glean from that. But once you have a birth chart, that snapshot of where all the planets were at when you were born or the beginning of something, that's where you get to see where all the planets are at. So the sun will be in a certain position. The moon will be in a certain position. And let's start right there. The sign that they are in, meaning the sign the sun is in, the sign the moon is in. And also you'll be able to see what house the moon is in, what house the sun is in. As far as the rising sign goes, follow me here. The rising sign is why your birth time is so important. Now, I have plenty of people come to me and they're like, there is no possible way for me to know my birth time. You know, the hospital burned down, my mother has passed, whatever the situation is. So I have a lot of people ask me like, well, what if my birth time is unknown? And you can still cast a chart without an exact birth time and just omit the houses. There will be just some parts of the chart that we will not use in order to gain information. So those things could include omitting the houses and potentially the moon placement. And this is a whole another rabbit hole of a topic for another time in terms of the ways you can rectify a birth time for a birth chart, but we'll save that for another time.
Another episode?
Another episode.
Yay!
But yeah, so the rising sign is why your birth time is so important. Your rising sign shows the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth.
Oh.
So essentially, how I think of it, it's like, it's the energy that sets up your entire birth chart because it was the first influence that you received when you took a body on this earthly plane.
Wow.
So because the Earth, of course, completes a rotation every 24 hours, it spends about 2 hours in each zodiac sign. And this is why the birth time is so crucial, is, you know, for accuracy, for casting a birth chart. So people that are like, my birth time, it's like around 5 p.m. It's like, well, if you are 2 hours off, then your whole chart
is going to be off. Yeah.
So, anyway, so the rising sign is also known as the ascendant. So you've probably heard that before.
Yeah.
It's the sign that begins the chart, the sign on the cusp of the first house. It's like the beginning of your birth chart. So your birth chart is a big pie.
Yeah.
It's a circle, right? Astrology is just math. Everyone that was told they weren't good at math, me raising my hand in high school, turns out all these years later, actually you're great at math, turns out. Maybe not algebra, but geometry. Hey. So 360 degrees in a circle, that circle is divided into 12 houses, and each house of the chart is 30 degrees.
Okay.
The beginning of that first house, wherever you start on the circle, it'll always be that first house cusp, that rising sign. That begins your chart.
Oh, wow. Okay. I always wondered about the house placement. That makes so much sense.
Right?
Okay. I'm learning. I love it.
Yes. I want everyone to learn. I mean, the same way I was so excited to learn. I'm like, wow, this math makes sense. Math makes my life make sense. Wow.
I love it.
Anyway, so as far as the rising sign goes, because there's the sun and the moon, which we will talk about, but the rising sign gets ignored a lot by pop astrology, and it is, in my opinion, the most important part of your chart because it begins your chart. It gives clues to things like physical appearance, presentation. It represents the energy that's most natural to you, for better or worse. So from this logic, we can see things like a first reaction to an unexpected surprise, or the style in which you may respond to the world around you. It's essentially, the rising sign is essentially the flavor of your autopilot.
Okay.
Right? Your automatic responses. So let's give an example really quick.
Sure.
I'm a Libra rising. Okay. I am a retired people pleaser, but
well done.
Thank you. It's good. It's great to be here now. But right. My autopilot still has a very Libran style in the sense of, it's ruled by Venus. And so it has this like put together presentation. It has like, a softness to it, no matter how intense my personality is beyond that mask, that's how it comes off. So, does that answer your question, at least about the rising sign? I know
it does. It does. I know when I was first getting exposed to astrology, I thought it was all about your sun.
Sure.
Like, I'm a Libra sun.
Right.
But
no wonder we get along.
I know. But I'm a Capricorn rising. Mm-hmm. And, most people are like, oh, she's a Libra. She's going to be,
XYZ.
Yes. And actually, I'm more Capricorn than Libra.
See?
I think it's actually a good balance, but maybe that's Absolutely. My Libra stepping up.
For sure. The keyword balance.
Exactly.
Well, so let's talk about the sun, because the sun is very important in a chart. Obviously, it's the sun. It takes up a lot of real estate in terms of the attention that it's the sun. The sun shines, right? So the sun represents the style that you self-express. So the way you shine, it has like information about your vitality, about your life force, the ways in which you enjoy being creative. It represents the things that you're conscious of, the parts of the ego that you express, what we're proud of and how you express that. So the reason why the big three, and we'll get to the moon in a second, which is honestly my favorite thing to talk about, but if you combine what I've just described of the rising sign and the sun, you can see how most of your outward personality is derived by this combination.
Yeah.
You know, so even the example you gave, you're a Capricorn rising and a Libra sun. So you have this autopilot that is very responsible.
Yeah, I like to get it done.
You like to get it done, you know, super.
And have fun.
And have fun. Okay, hey, Libra sun. Sun is fun. Sun is where we find how we have fun. Also, the sun rules the fifth house. Maybe that's for another time. But the fifth house is where you look for your like style of joy, style of fun, style of creativity. But one of the places we look is to the sun. So if you're a Libra sun, then you really are passionate about shining with others, one-on-one sit-downs, like, hey, we're in one right now.
Yeah.
You know, like getting to know someone intimately one-on-one. It's an air sign through conversations, through exchanges, through mental exchanges.
Yeah.
You know, so you would combine that Capricorn rising flavor with that Libra sun flavor to gather, like, who is Laura Darling in the outward world?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, and I'll wrap this up since we just talked about the big three. Those were the big two. Here's the big third. The moon. The moon represents our inner life, our emotional patterns. It has information about our family lineage stories, the ways in which we are connected to the unseen realms, the ways that we feel safe or seek safety. In a lot of ways, honestly, I feel that the moon sign, as much as I just raved about the rising and sun sign, the moon is truly my favorite because I would say it's arguably more important than the sun and rising sign because it reveals who we truly are in private. It's the part that you only would show people if you felt truly 100% held, safe. When your guard is down, then your moon is invited to the chat.
That makes sense. It sounds like your true, authentic self.
Yes. So like when no one's watching, when you're alone, when your defenses are down, when you feel safe, you know, the moon is going to reveal your inner life, your inner style, your inner personality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
I'm a Scorpio moon.
Me too.
Love it. So much in common.
I know. This is working
cool.
out for us.
I love it. All right. So with the big three in mind, looking at those pieces of how you present to the world, looking at your ascension, looking at your moon and that internal aspect, how would one take those three and approach life?
I would absolutely, if we're just talking about the big three, and there's so much more to look at, but if we're just looking at the big three, I would break that up into those quick phrases of my rising is my autopilot, the sun is how I express, the moon is how I feel.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah. That is...
Boom. Shorthand for anyone that wants to just feel like, how do I resonate with my big three once I find them out? You can run a free chart. There are plenty of services, you know, online and find out your big three. You know, if you don't have a birth time, then not your ascendant, but knowing your sun and potentially your moon, depending on how accurate your birth time is, there's just a lot of information that you can glean from that. How would I apply it to life? To be honest, again, not to harp on the moon, because I feel like the sun is super self-explanatory. It's the things that other people can see about you. You know, we know that you are amazing at organization because we have visual representations of that for you. For example, speaking before a Libra sun.
Yeah.
With a Capricorn rising. But for me, out of the big three, I paid the most attention to the moon.
Yeah.
Because that inner life is usually where the work is or the deeper learning is because it's not on display. You have to really go into it. You have to really look.
Yeah.
You have to really feel is really what I should say.
I love that.
Right? Especially for us with Scorpio moons. The flavor of Scorpio being, it's a very private sign.
It is.
It has a lot of hidden dark corners that, aren't necessarily negative, although all signs have positives and negatives. There's no good and bad. It all just is information. Duality.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the moon to me is, especially in a reading.
Sure.
If I'm with a client and they have a really, really loud, prominent moon, for example, the moon is making, very direct aspects to other planets, or it's positioned in a vulnerable way in the chart, then that says to me that there are deeper things to explore about the hidden life of a person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like that moon side, I never really thought about it in that way. I knew it was more of the internal, I think of it more of emotional side of how we deal internally. But it actually spinning it around instead of just how is someone presenting, how are they expressing, who are they really? Who are they underneath the presentation? And I think you said something earlier that really resonates with me as well, is the mask, right? We all have different aspects of ourselves. If we're a parent and we're taking care of a child, we're taking them to school, that aspect of us is not necessarily what's going on inside. It can be a bit of a facade because it needs to be to function.
Sure.
Right. So it's very interesting for me to kind of spin that question around instead of, okay, cool, sun and rising or ascendant.
Yeah.
But the moon, that's like deep.
So deep. It is so deep.
And I know there's so many aspects to astrology, and I love this because I'm already getting pings to want to talk to you about the houses, because I've always tried to wrap my head around, okay, what's this?
Absolutely.
I'm very, very junior in this. I'll read my own and I'll dig in and find what's this thing? But I'm wondering if there's one other thing on the chart that you would catch your eye and you'd be like, yo, we need to talk about this thing. Is there something that resonates with you?
Absolutely. Right off the bat, if it's okay, you only have X amount of time and I only want to know about my big three and what else, there are two things that I would add to the list.
Ooh.
And the first one is the nodal axis.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me.
Okay, so the nodal axis, or the north and south nodes of the moon, they are mathematical points. So they're not physical bodies in the sky. They're essentially follow me here, a little bit of science.
Let's do it.
They're where the two luminaries, the sun and the moon, the point at which they intersect in their orbits. So the space where the path of the orbit of the sun intersects with the path of the orbit of the moon around the earth. And that point that they meet mathematically is called the north node and the south node on, respectively on either side of the orbit. So, these mathematical points, they move throughout the year because of the wobble of the orbit. And, they move through each zodiac sign approximately every 18 months and take 18 and a half years-ish to circle the entire zodiac. But okay, whatever. Why is this important? The north node is like the North Star in a chart. It is representing where the soul in a lifetime is being guided to go, is being guided to expand. And the south node, the respective opposite point, is looked to for clues of what we brought into this lifetime and what we need to release, So this is essentially the path we're walking in a lifetime, from the south node where we came in to where we're going to end up, the north node. So normally when I sit down with a client, sure, I'm looking at sun, moon, and rising for basics, but in my very next thing that I look at, and is usually the first thing I'll talk to the client about in a consultation, in a reading, is let's talk about what you're really doing here. You have your questions, I'm happy to answer them, but what's your assignment? What's the point of you being here?
Right.
So that would be the first thing. And the second thing, past the big three, would be big bad Saturn.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Saturn is where we look in a chart to see the karmic lessons of a person. Or I guess not just a person, because if you run a chart for an event, a person, place, or thing, wherever Saturn is in a chart, it's going to show you those karmic lessons that must be learned in a lifetime. Saturn is the planet that shows restriction, limitations. Saturn is where you have zero shortcuts.
Okay.
You have to take this curriculum. You have to sit for these exams. No ifs, ands, or buts. No rich uncle is going to bail you out. You have to do this. So it's helpful for clients, for people, for all peoples to find Saturn, find the sign Saturn's in, find the house that it's sitting in, and any aspects that it's making to other planets to get an understanding for the work that we need to do. What needs to be done, you know? What are the blocks around your progress? What are the blocks and restrictions on your way to mastery?
Wow. That's amazing. Like when I think about how we traverse through our journey in our life, if I had known.
So helpful, right?
Yeah, because in my experience, and I think probably a lot of people will relate with this, we tend to go through cycles. Sure. That these cycles will bring up, maybe it's the same types of people coming into our orbit or the same types of jobs. Absolutely. Or kind of, you know, these lessons that
very familiar.
Yeah. That if we're not dealing with, it's going to pop up, you know, halfway down the road in maybe a different form, but same core message. So do you think that Saturn would help someone like look around the corner and be like, oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. I mean, there is also, it's become pop astrology to know about, like, for example, the Saturn return, the time in everyone's life where Saturn returns to the place it was at when you were born. And that happens for people, you know, usually between the ages of like 28 and 30, you know, give or take, because nothing is exactly even in its measurement. But it's like you will go through, if you live long enough, every 28 to 30 years, a Saturn return. So people that first get the first Saturn return happens in that time frame. And to speak to what you're talking about, repeating lessons, if you don't master the lessons that are presented around that time that mature you into adulthood, you will find that around 58 to 60, that you're going to have to go through those same themes just in a whole different format. And that there is the cycle of Saturn. It's all just cycles. It's all this math.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay. That is just blowing my mind. I love it. Thank you.
Yes.
So is there anything else you would want to share? Just kind of giving like, I think this first conversation, giving like a good foundation. This has been epic.
Awesome.
Is there anything that you would want to share for what's going on with the world and things that are happening and how astrology is impacting us? You know, I listen a lot, I read a lot, I hear a lot about the astrological events, and I'd love to get any insights you would want to bestow upon us.
Awesome. Well, if there's so many. We are truly in such impeccable, pivotal times. But because of the timing of probably when this episode is going to go live, I can just give this heads up that we are about to have a solar eclipse in Aquarius. It's going to happen at 28 degrees, almost 29 degrees. So remember I described that there's 30 degrees to a sign. So the very last degree of the sign, damn near. And this is a solar eclipse. So a solar eclipse is a new moon. And new moons are when the sun and moon meet together in a conjunction at the same place in the sky. In this case, at 28 degrees of Aquarius. So this is happening on February 17th. Of 2026. So coming up quick here. This begins a new cycle, just like any new moon, but it's almost like on steroids. Eclipses are new moons. Solar eclipses are new moons on steroids. They're they're a lot more energized, energetic, unpredictable. They usher in new energy, new chapters, new influences. This particular eclipse features a square to Uranus, which happens to be the ruler of Aquarius. So the ruler of the eclipse is giving a square energy. Okay, let me break that down.
Yeah, what's that mean?
So a square is is when two planets form a 90-degree angle.
Okay.
And that 90-degree angle initiates change. It creates a conflict. There is a challenge or an issue that must be spoken for, answered to. You know, so
they're squaring off.
They're squaring off, right? It's like, we have to figure this out, or we have to make a progress. We have to make an agreement. We have to have a confrontation. Something's gotta give. There's no like chilling or sliding by a square aspect, especially to Uranus.
Right.
Uranus, the planet of change, great awakening, unexpected occurrences, surprises, chaos, rebellion. Big one for this new moon solar eclipse.
And in Aquarius, because, you know, for me, I always think Aquarius, I think back to that musical Hair and like, oh, it's the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Everybody's going to be peace and love and understanding.
Right.
So I'm interested. I'm so interested, like, with Uranus and Aquarius squaring off.
Yes. So the sign of Aquarius rules humanity and it rules the people. And I understand why in your mind that's why. And sure that you're correct in a sense that Aquarius is going to usher in a sense of unity among the people and peace will guide the planets. Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, there is this aspect, there is this aspect of coming together, of uniting as one, where the power is in the hands of the people. The people are recognizing the power that they have. That is surely a signature of Aquarius.
Yeah.
However, just as we said earlier in the podcast, that there is no good and bad. We live in duality. And the other side of Aquarius is about being an individual, is about being independent, is about being detached rather than completely connected.
Interesting.
Yes.
That makes sense.
There is that duality there. So that's speaking to the sign of Aquarius. Now, Uranus, which is the modern ruler of the sign of Aquarius, because to each sign, to each planet, how should I put this? To each sign, a planet is assigned its rulership. So, for example, the sun is ruled by Leo, the moon is ruled by Cancer. There's a whole list of them.
Sure.
Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. In ancient astrology, not modern astrology, in ancient astrology, Saturn was the ruler of Aquarius. Just as an aside here. But in this case, I use modern rulerships. I sometimes reference Saturn. I digress. The point is that in this situation where the ruler of the solar eclipse, Uranus, is squaring the new moon itself, the solar eclipse itself, it creates a mandatory sort of feeling that like a change must occur. Anyway, a square really gives us that vibe, but if you add the intensity of it being in the sign of its ruler, a square to the ruling planet, the intensity of it not just being a regular new moon, it's a solar eclipse new moon. I mean, everything is truly jacked in terms of the energy of we have got to make a change. Now, Uranus, the planet that rules Aquarius, Uranus, is sitting itself in the sign of Taurus at 27 degrees. Now, here's just a little bit of backstory, a little bit of context. Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus since 2018, and it is finally on its last leg. It's not going to go retrograde again in the sign. It's going to move finally into the sign of Gemini here in just a few months. So we're seeing the last wrap up of the story of Uranus and Taurus. Uranus being the planet of rebellion, of change, of surprises. Taurus being the sign of our resources, our money, the financial market. There's a lot of physicality involved. The earth, what lies inside of the earth's resources, our physical life, our physical bodies. Anyway, as Uranus has been traversing through the sign of Taurus since 2018, I don't know about you, but like,
yeah.
Have you noticed any changes in those areas of your life?
Just a few.
Yeah. So,
just a few.
so that is, so basically the planet Uranus that's ruling the new moon, that is in Aquarius, the new moon solar eclipse that's in Aquarius, that planet is finishing its last lap. And so these themes are coming together. There must be a change. So a lot of people are predicting that this is when the next financial crash is going to happen. A lot of people are predicting that there is going to be a change in their physical environment of some kind, you know. And side note, financial astrology is a whole other avenue, you can go down that rabbit hole. There are amazing financial astrologers. You should totally host one on your podcast. I am not one of them. But anyway.
I didn't realize, just to share, I didn't realize there was different types of astrology.
Oh, yeah.
So when you started in the beginning of this podcast to share about the different types, I didn't even think about it for financial.
Oh, yeah.
That's very cool.
Gosh. So there's, financial astrology, medical astrology. I mean, okay, well, we'll leave it for another. I mean, it's pretty infinite, you know.
Wow.
There's Hellenistic astrology, there's horary astrology. There are so many different types of ways that you can study the math of the stars and glean so much useful information about what's happening now, what happened in the past, what's to come in the future.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. There's so much to dive into.
Okay, so anyway, this square to Uranus, obviously, we're watching, you know, uprisings, people coming together. There's that theme about humanity being, that's the Aquarian aspect, the humanity aspect of Aquarius, people coming together, people rising up, people saying, no, I won't tolerate this kind of behavior. Anyway, there's this energy we can physically see, but a square to Uranus creates a month, the month ahead from this new moon solar eclipse, the month ahead of incredible and unpredictable surprises. So I would say that as soon as this February 17th date hits, that until we make it through eclipse season, until we make it through the next new moon, which won't happen until March, but this month that begins on February 17th is one of the pivotal moments of certainly of 2026, but of our lifetime. And the reason why it's of our lifetime is the second transit I want to mention. And that is two outer planets, Saturn and Neptune, are meeting together at 0 degrees of Aries, the very beginning of the zodiac.
Whoa.
Which, you know, happens fairly frequently, like every 30 something years, but it hasn't happened at this degree in recorded history. So, meaning what? Let's see, 5,000 years is maybe the recorded ephemeris that you could check in with astrology.
Right.
And in those 5,000 years of the recorded ephemeris,
nothing.
It has never happened. So that is to say, some astrologers even are talking about how it hasn't happened for maybe 14,000 years. The point is that humans as we know it have not been on the planet in a modern way of recording it while this transit has ever happened. So we are truly in unprecedented times. And for something this big, the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at the beginning of the zodiac happening just days after the solar eclipse in Aquarius square Uranus, the solar eclipse happening on February 17th, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries happening on February 20th. That's within a 3-day window. So I just want to, if there's anything I can leave you with, is to just address and stress how, my ears are ringing, how intense and unprecedented this time period is, not just in our individual lives, but as a collective, for humanity as a body of people, as a consciousness.
Wow.
For something this big to happen at the beginning of the zodiac, 0 degrees of Aries, the first degree of measuring anything, is wild. And it signals that degree. I mean, there are entire, talking about the different types of astrology that exist, there's an entire school of astrology based off of the 0 degree Aries point. That's a whole nother, again, can of worms.
Wow.
But that's how potent that placement is.
Yeah. It's the beginning of the cycle.
It's the beginning of something incredibly new for humanity. Our lives will never be the same, and it may not unfold, within this 3-day window that I'm talking about, but we may very well look back on, just like we did for perhaps in the pandemic or whatever. Mm-hmm. There are these milestones of being in this lifetime, of taking a body on this planet, the middle of February is certainly one of them.
Wow. It's exciting.
It is.
I try to look at things when they're coming as everything has duality.
Yes.
And anything that comes, there's opportunity in it. And so for me to hear about this alignment, to hear about these planets coming together at this 0 degree, something we have never seen in the history of recorded astrology or humanity.
Period.
Dead stop. It's going to be something new. And I know personally how much my astrology impacts my day-to-day life. And I think every interaction that I have, even with my pets, when I meet people, it's crazy cool. So I'm actually excited and curious about what's going to happen. So I'm definitely circling that on my calendar.
Please do.
Yes. I'm just wondering, should I take a couple days where I don't do anything, or should I just see how it all unfolds?
That's a really good question. In general, my gut instinct is yes, absolutely. If you have the ability to tune into yourself and have intentional time, even if you're just getting your popcorn and watching the story of humanity unfold, that's a viable action. That's a good thing to do if you have that opportunity, if that's a hit for you, if something you want to do. But certainly, and this may be fun for your listeners to go run a free birth chart. You can go to the very known website, astro.com, plug in your information. It's completely free. I want that tool to be in everyone's hands. Run a birth chart and find 0 degrees Aries in your chart. Locate it. There are plenty of ways to find out how to do that. You can send me a message at readingsbynoah.com. I'll help you do it. But the point is that find where 0 degrees of Aries is in your chart. And that's going to give you information about what area of life or what part of your life is going to have this brand new beginning, is going to have this brand new start.
I love this. And
so in that way, if you get an offer, an opportunity, you might not want to be at home, if it's something that's a yes for you.
Sure. It's such good advice. It was actually one thing I was going to ask is, a piece of advice to leave the audience with. And I think exploring astrology for yourself and seeing what resonates. And Noah, you've been so incredible opening my mind, and I'm sure a lot of the people listening's minds on the different types.
Oh, yeah.
Ways to look at your big three, your sun, your moon, your rising, but also at the nodes. And I can't get over with Saturn as well.
Huge.
Yep. And just talking through the eclipses coming, this amazing 0 degree Aries placement that's coming up. I am just my skin is prickly hair.
Yes.
So I love the idea that you're sharing to everyone can get one.
Everyone. It's free.
Yeah.
Everyone should. I want everyone to be able to use this information because it's just so helpful.
Yeah.
I would just leave everyone with this sort of on the mind. I would leave them with this statement. It really just we're in such an incredible transition point in humanity, in our personal lives, in the way we exist, period. I mean, it's going to hit everyone differently, and yet we're all part of this one body of humanity, right? So there's going to be this, in some way, a very familiar and mutually felt resonance in some way, shape, or form. I just want to remind everyone to stay open, that we're in a very future forward time. So the advice in a very zoomed out yet direct way from me would be to stay open to surprises, stay open to new perspectives, and allow change to inform the way forward. Because Beautiful. A lot of the things from the past are truly going away, that they're no longer viable. It doesn't mean that they're no longer important to remember, to study. Outdated. And that's from, systems of government, for example, but it also means like patterns of belief, the way you organize your kitchen cabinet. It can be very mundane. Another branch of astrology, mundane astrology. But it can be very simple is what I'm saying. You know? But there are a lot of things that are going to catch us off guard in order for us to grow. And so we just need to be, you had an amazing attitude the way you described it. I'm excited. Like that is the attitude. That is the vibe. Get hype about the ways in which opportunities can come into your field. Get hype about what new communities, Aquarius, you now can become connected to. Like this is the level up. This is the new human design.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. This has been amazing. And I really hope I get to have you back because there's more and more I want to talk about on all the things around the wheel. But first, I want to know, if you don't mind sharing, how can our audience get in touch with you? What's some of the best ways to reach out to you for a reading or just to know more?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Anyone looking for a personal consultation with me can send an inquiry. You can go to my website at readingsbynoa.com and send me an inquiry. I have a little menu there of my offerings. You can choose one, ask me questions about them. I offer for free a weekly blog that is also what I write for Would Be Weekly. And it's listed there on my website. So you can go to my website and check that out. Week by week, you'll see the breakdown horoscope for what's to come for the week ahead.
I follow you on socials.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Hey, social media.
Yeah.
You can follow me at readingsby_NOA. And there I will also, that's usually where I list all of my offerings for like events, some of which I do with you, Laura Darling.
Yes.
You can find any events that I'll be involved with. You can find any of my offerings in terms of when I pop up physically in the community. You can get a personal one-on-one reading with me sometimes out in the community.
That's how we met.
That is. And it's usually like, again, speaking to staying open to surprises that,
When the stars align.
When the stars align.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So again, thank you. I really hope for everyone this has been a lot of fun because I know it's been fun here in the studio. I can't wait to have you back and just appreciate everything that you do every day for humanity and for the people in your life and the people who need support, guidance, and all of your gifts. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
You are the best. You are the best. I had so much fun. I can't wait to be back. And you're just a joy to hang out with, my Libra girlfriend.
I love it. All right. Well, until next time, be well, darlings. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like this episode and want more, subscribe and rate the Be Well Darling podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. To find out what events are going on in the Be Well Darling community, get a free sound bath, or learn more about the topics we covered today, check out my show notes on my website at bewelldarling.com and follow me on socials. Remember, I'm on this journey with you, cheering you on as you step into the life of your dreams. Until next time, be well, darling.